Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about my FNX 45 Tactical because they don't make a 46. With that being said, I'd like to send you a big thank you out to everyone who has liked, commented, and subscribed on the previous videos. I always appreciate it and always enjoy talking to you guys. And if you're new here to the channel, welcome. If you like this video and enjoy the type of content we have here, please consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. And if you like weird, funny, kind of not funny, but also funny dad jokes, subscribe. So, FNX 45 Tactical, because they don't make the 46. That's why I shoot it, right? Safety check. Gosh. Get off the stage! So, FNX 45 Tactical. I said it before, I'll say it again. Fantastic gun. It's a big mamma jamma, but fantastic nevertheless. Now, the FNX 45 has, or the Tactical in specific, has had kind of a varied history. It was introduced in the early 2000s as part of like the offensive pistol program for not to replace the M9, but as for special forces, kind of like SOPMOD or SOCOM or those kind of guys, which eventually they settled on the HK Mark 23, and they had a few different requests in this program, one of which had to be 45. So the FNX 45, it's a gun designed around 45, and for it to have a full-size compact in the sense of having 15 rounds of 45, and having a pistol that was designed around that, it's kind of hard to find. I mean, you had the 1911 designed around 45, and that's pretty much it, and the Mark 23. There's really isn't that many out there, so it's nice to see just a little bit of deviation from there, because good luck finding a Mark 23. But this gun is just awesome. Really can't say anything bad about it. There are like there's one kind of big, depending on how you look at it, or depending on how you feel, which side of the fence you sit on. I'm okay with it, but there is kind of one, not an issue, but just a disturbance in the force with people with this gun, which I will address, and I'll address further in a separate video, but let's get into it. So, 45 ACP, 15 rounds. Heck of a deal. Can't really beat that. Now, she is a big chungus. I do wear a size medium glove, medium-sized hands. You see there, I do have a kind of extended out quite a bit. Does sit very nicely, though. Overall, I have an FNS9. I enjoy the texturing, enjoy the stippling, and just generally enjoy the pistol overall. So, definitely not anything crazy there. Going from butt to tip, opposite of Papa Garand. It does have fully ambidextrous magazine control, so you can go from left or from right, which is nice. It does have a safety selector, fire, safe, and decocker, so you push up for safe, push down for fire, just like standard 1911 go pedal, and then it is a decocker if you push it all the way down. So it's nice. It does have a half cock position, so you can see there, once you are fully cocked, it decocks to a half. Once you do pull the trigger, it is fully recessed, and you can see once you pull it back, it does go to that half cock position. Again, fully ambidextrous. Slide stop, slide catch. This is what I would call a slide catch, not a slide release, being that it doesn't really have texturing to allow it. You can do it, but it's definitely, you can see that in the shape and the geometry of it, it's made to lock the slide back, but you're supposed to, tap, rack, and bang. Looking up here, did the color fill on it. If you want to see how to do that, check out the other videos on the channel. It does have a plastic trigger, but it is a fairly nice trigger. Looking at the pull here, well, let's decock. So let's go all the way to full double action. So, a little bit of take there. You see it gets that half cock. You don't feel it on the trigger, though. You see it in the trigger, but you don't feel it. It is kind of heavy, but it's very smooth. There's no grip. I'd say it's definitely around 10 or 11 pounds. Close to there. So it breaks nice and easy. See reset. Audible, tactile. A little bit mush. Or not mush, a little bit more take up. Overall, very nice trigger. I mean, compared to some triggers out there, it definitely has a good run, or a lot going for it. So don't you just love doing that? Moving on up, it does have a optics plate. Also, shoot, I don't have the bag for this video. I'll probably post it on the Instagram account, which, as you guys don't know, have an Instagram account. That'll be going up here shortly. I'll put a link in the description. I'm gonna start posting some videos on there so you guys can take it for your wallpapers or what have you. Just enjoy them. Hope they're as photogenic as I try to make them out to be. But if you use them for your wallpapers, make sure you tell them the Geeky Nerd sent you. So comes with a really nice bag, a nice canvas bag. You can look it up. Does come with an optics plate, which is nice. So you can fully kit this sucker out. It does have suppressor height night sights. They are serrated in the rear, obviously not in the front. Now, one cool thing I will show you here. Let me shut off the studio light as much as I can. There are different colors. Actually, hold on for the jump cut. Okay, so this is just something I wanted to show that I thought was freaking cool. If I could maybe focus. There we go. So you can see these are night sights. These are brand new, but you see there's a little bit of color deviation from it. And that's because the front is actually green and the rear is amber. How freaking cool is that? So you have two different colored night sights, just slightly different colored tritium. So you know which one's your front, which one's your rear. Obviously, you'll be able to tell that your rear, your left one, your right one, and then whatever dot in the middle is going to be your front post. But I just thought that was really cool. It might not be picking it up as well on camera, but they definitely are quite visible to the naked eye, and no problem there. So hold on for another jump cut. Okay, so without me fangirling about the sights anymore, you can see it's fairly nice, made by FN Columbia, South Carolina. Seems like they get all the nice things in Carolina. One thing I will say about the trigger, though, just before we get more deep into it, is that once the gun is decocked, or actually, let me rephrase this. Once it's fully reset, I'm going to see if you can hear this. Oh, is it not going to do it? Oh, come on. Oh, you can carry cocked and locked as well. Come on. There we go. Okay, so once you, and I'll show you why it does this, but once you disengage the safety from the full cock position, listen. You can see it does move a bit, and it does kind of click over. Also, when you engage the safety, you see it moves back. So that's just the mechanism internal, and I'll kind of get into that. But that's just generally just something I noticed. I was like, oh, that's a little unique. Also, you can lock it when it's in this position, fully down. So you do have to have a long action. So you can put it all the way, any way you want. The safety does disable the trigger. So take that for what you will. Disassembly, like pretty much any gun, lock it back, flip forward. You don't have to pull the trigger to have it release, which is nice. Looking on that mechanism I was talking about here, you can see inside there, little blue piece. That's actually, it's not showing on camera. It's not really coming up. You see there's a little piece there. Yep, that rides up. And you see there's your trigger bar, disengaging everything. Everything is doubled. Everything is metal. Everything is nice. I thought the trigger mechanism on this was quite unique. You can see there it has like a spring that's essentially pushing up against, that is pushing these rearward. So I thought that was kind of unique. Double for everything, which I like. This extractor is pretty goddamn brutal. Instead of just being a standard extractor, it is hooked and curved like that. I'm not going to fire it, obviously, but you can see here, once you disengage that, this little piece right here is going to pop up. So, and of course, what that is doing is it is getting ready to, release that for fire. So, obviously, once you go full ad hoc with it, it's going to push back on that firing pin block, and tally ho, lads. Once you engage safety again, pushes that back down. Looking on the inside. Capture recoil spring. Now, one thing I wish that it could do is take out the barrel without having to take the thread protector off, but you have to take it off. It is 578 by 28 standard threads, standard 45 threads. One thing about the thread protector I really like about it is it does protect the crown as well. It gives a little focus. So you can get some that go a little bit more than that, but it is a nice thread protector. It is knurled very nicely. Definitely doesn't have any kind of grit like my RCM one did. It does go in one direction, so you see that side. This side has a little bit of lip on there. So that little lip side goes on here. The flat end goes on the other side. Take the barrel out. It is a fairly long barrel. I believe it's like 5 1/4 inches. Is nicely made, as you would expect from FN. Now, one thing, it doesn't have any kind of polygonal rifling. It is just standard rifling. Feed ramps, nicely polished for the big old honkin' 45. This does feed reliably with hollow points. You don't just need a ball ammunition. So I've never had any issues. I have seen some people have a few, but I have not. Look at it in the slide, as you expect. Nothing else, or nothing to really show as far as like no machining marks, anything like that. It is very nice, built solid. No complaints there. It does have the exposed firing pin. Obviously, being a hammer pistol, you can't push it in, but obviously ain't going anywhere until you push that spring down. So overall, very nice pistol. By the way, I realize called that extractor. That's extractor or shell holder. You know what I mean. This sucker kicks it out. That sucker holds it. late night, guys. The one thing I do want to touch on, like I said, about issues with this pistol. First of all, it's been fantastic. Obviously, I've never taken this pistol into battle, but for what I've used it for, it's shown tried and true. Shooting a 45 is naturally subsonic, so that's great for a suppressor. That makes this perfect with suppressor height sights. It's literally made for it. The balance on it is utterly perfect. I mean, once you have 15 rounds of 45 in here, like the balance with the suppressor is like pretty much just right front of the trigger guard. So having that, it pretty much balances in your hand, like a glove. It has very nice rails, front and rear, full steel. So they are not just like little tiny ones. Obviously, you're dealing with the 45, so it is a bigger round, so everything's going to be bigger, especially in Texas. But to the issue I'm talking about. So first thing you're going to notice, if you have any other FN, is you're going to feel these magazines. They're definitely not that thick. You can flex them just the tiniest ever bit, but they are metal. They are nice. Here's the part that a lot of people get. See that? That's what everyone freaks out about right there. Not going to lie, I did too. Just that little bit of polymer flex. Also, if you are gripping it like extremely tight at a weird angle, you can get the magazine to catch, to where you then have to release your grip. That's one thing a lot of people don't like. I've never had an issue with it. I've never had a magazine get stuck like that, because I'm like bare claw gripping this sucker in order to make that happen. But there's some people off. There is this one guy, I forget his name. He's like Dennis Rover. He seems like a very nice guy on YouTube. I watch his videos kind of regularly. And he has a very flexible one to where it's like going weeble wobble. I'm talking about like able to pinch these sides together. Now, that was an older batch. If you buy any kind of FNX 45, like a newer generation, we're talking about like, like 2015s, like, 2010s-ish. You should not have that issue. His issue was caused by a polymer, basically, here, how to put this. The dye that they used in the black pistols to color the polymer did two things. One, it increased the heat absorbency of the pistol frame. Obviously, tan is going to absorb less heat than plastic. Second thing is that the pigment that they used to dye the polymer, it changed the it changed the grain structure of the plastic essentially to cause it to where when it was exposed to excessive heat, it lacked its structural rigidity as opposed to the tan version. That's the geeky nerd moment, short synopsis of it. You may not get that moment of mental clarity again. And so FN, they stated that they fixed the problem. Now, you're going to see that and you're going to say, wow, that's a lot. That's because this is a different polymer. If you feel an FN, it's going to feel different than a Glock. If you feel a Glock, it's going to feel different than a HK. If you feel a HK, it's going to feel different than a SIG. SIG is going to feel different than a Canic. They're all going to feel differently. It's because all their polymers are different. Polymer is just, it's like their secret sauce, secret recipe. Now, from softest polymer to hardest polymer, I would say FN is, not at the bottom, but towards the bottom. Mid-range is going to be your Glock frames, and then hard high-end is going to be your HKs. So HKs, polymers have pretty much no flex at all. Glocks have just the slightest bit. FNs have a bit more, and obviously it goes down from there. But by no means are you getting an inferior quality pistol. It just happens that they have a bit more rubber in them. Also, it's the geometry of it. They had to make thinner sidewalls, and they had to make these mags thinner. Because there's 15 rounds of 45 in here, guys. That's a lot. Like, go ahead. I'll put everything down. Name another 45 that holds 15 rounds. Standard. Okay. If you have some weird, obscure one or you think of another one, let me know down in the comments. But as far as I know, there really isn't. Not without having on extended magazines or anything like that. I'm talking about like from the factory as it's, as John Moses Browning intended. This is John Moses Browning. Just roll with me on the jokes here. But with that, I mean, you're also not really going to notice it as far as or not really going to have to worry about it structural rigidity wise when the magazine is in there because it is providing some metal reinforcement to the magazine. Now, you can't get it to bind, like I said, but I mean, day to day, even if you are just gripping it, I'm talking about I have to be bear claw this sucker. So that's one little gripe that a lot of people have with it. Not really too much of a concern for me. So that's kind of the long and short of it. But as I'm reassembling this pistol, don't know why I said pistol weird. It's been a fantastic little shooter. Now the price point on this sucker, you're looking at about 1,200 didgeridoos. Definitely a lot for a pistol. And for that one issue that I mentioned, some people said that's unacceptable. I feel for what you're getting, for the quality, for what it is, for what it can do, I feel like it's acceptable. But that's just me. Overall, though, for a 45, for what it can do, I wouldn't take anything other, as you heard the thought of it coming down. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, or subscribing. And with that, hope everyone's having a wonderful, awesome, fantastic day. Catch you guys next time. See you guys.